Why are weed smokers so afraid to admit that they're addicted? I know many people who smoke weed, people close to me, and they smoke literally every day. On the days that they don't have the money to smoke, they'd always act very angry and mean. Yet every time you tell them they're addicted, it's always, no, it's not addictive. I've seen the way people act when they don't have a cigarette, and that is exactly the way weed smokers act. I know a dozen people who are open about smoking weed, and it's hilarious because they claim weed calms them down, but all of them get mad very easily and grumpy. At work, the smallest things make them all upset, and they can't get over it. I think weed shortens people's fuse, if anything, and makes them irritable. Well, that's your opinion. I smoke daily, but only after everything is done. I work in healthcare and have the patience of a nun. I could say this too. Work in healthcare as an elderly therapist, so patience of a god. Smoke daily, but never until I'm done with everything. It's never been a party thing. It helps me actually sit still for a few hours and watch shows with the wife in the evening and/or play games due to age. Never considered myself addicted. Alcohol, on the other hand, 18-year alcoholic, 3.5 years sober. Same. I used to smoke every single day after work and right before bed. Now that I sought help for my mental health, I have meds to help me relax, sleep, and treat my anxiety. So I stopped smoking weed, and it was hell at first. Then I got used to it. And now I'm fine. Now I take edibles once in a blue moon when I feel it. But the NEAD to be high isn't there anymore. I can finally enjoy it as a treat instead of a need to function normally. Also, taking edibles instead of smoking really helped my lungs. Weed absolutely is addictive, and I'm tired of people pretending that it isn't. Just because you don't get through horrible withdrawal like with other drugs doesn't mean that it isn't addictive. I had alcohol and sleep issues. The sleep issues came first, the booze second. I decided to use cannabis to help with both. It worked great, and for a few years, I slept well, I hardly drank, and when I did, it wasn't fall down drunk. But then I started smoking too much. But I needed the cannabis to sleep. But I was smoking too much. But I needed. You get the point. I went cold turkey during lockdown. It was fucking terrible. Anyone who says cannabis isn't addictive is leaning too heavily into the fact that cannabis doesn't have any physical addiction issues. But it does have a fuck ton of mental. I'm addicted hard to weed. Vaping flower mostly. Was a junkie shooting heroin and cocaine. One morning after shooting coke all night, the calm down was unbearable, and I decided to fall heavy into taking huge dabs. Been 6 years clean. Yeah, I'm 2 months off of alcohol. Went 2 weeks or so stone cold sober, then started smoking weed in the evenings, but then it use picks up. The same addictive tendencies are there, but I'm not gonna die anymore. At least I smoke and deadlift instead of slamming 15 beers or half a bottle of Jameson playing Rocket League. I also consider myself clean or sober, but mainly in regards to alcohol. I've transitioned to a less health-damaging addiction, but I'm able to control it way better at least. Here, I'll counter you. I'm addicted to weed, but I don't let it be a problem in my life. I use it to treat my chronic pain disorder, and it allows me to be comfortable sometimes, as opposed to never. I can be never comfortable, but I have no interest in it. I'm addicted, and I'm gonna be addicted. But I still control my usage of it. I don't make reckless choices when I'm high, and it's generally just something to do in the evenings to give me a break from always hurting. The only real reason I call it an addiction is because I crave it. There are flare-up days where the only thing stopping me from completely shutting down is knowing there will be relief later. But I guess, as others have explained to me, it better qualifies as dependent. As I'm far more craving the not in pain than I crave the high, even though I enjoy the high. My brother has smoked it since he was 11 years old. He is now 39 and still smokes it. It even caused psychosis when he was 16, but nothing has stopped him. He even takes antipsychotics. He has had hallucinations and paranoia many of times. He thinks he can just take more meds and it will go away. He lost his license like 17 years ago for taking drugs, and he hasn't got it back because he needs a clean drug test. I paid for at-home drug tests and his new license, but he didn't do it. My mom even bought him a van. He is exactly the same. He can't just smoke one or two at night. He sits up all night, smokes one after another until it is finished and is just far too stunted, if you ask me, and when he doesn't have any, he is moody and snap. The most annoying thing for me is the smell. It sticks to everything. You know when he's been in your house or car just from the stench off of his jacket.